Whenever I hear people talking about two-state solution for Palestine, it makes me wonder whether they are mentally retarded morons or they are actually the pimps, peddlers, and prostitutes for the Zionists. This is such a geopolitical blasphemy, wrong at so many levels. Because once you say that you accept two-state solution for Palestine, you are basically legitimizing the occupation. What you are saying is that for the last 75 years, every genocide, every Nakaba, every crime committed by the Zionist entity are now legal, justified, and forgiven. They will be given a larger part of Palestine, and the Palestinian, the indigenous population, will get small chunks of land, something like Gaza or West Bank, and as a cherry on the top, we'll give them the city of Jerusalem. No sane man would accept, as I said, this geopolitical blasphemy. The real power players in the region, the parties concerned, the Zionists themselves, and the Palestinians, the resistance, Hamas, they all reject this two-state solution given by the United Nations and being parroted by so many Muslim leadership all across the world. I mean, does it look like the Zionists are actually implementing the two-state solution in Palestine when they are pushing the Palestinians from Gaza into Egypt and from West Bank into Jordan? Does it look that they are going to hand over Jerusalem to Muslims? Does it look like that they are going to accept a Palestinian state within Palestine and occupy a large part of the territory themselves? Obviously, this is never going to happen. United Nations does not have the will or the capacity to implement this two-state solution anyways. You have seen the last 50 days of genocide going on in Gaza. UN was not just incapable, they were actually complicit. They were actually the backers and supporters of the Zionist entity to slaughter Palestinians, and they were only silent spectators. In fact, I would say they were active collaborators. So anyone saying that there should be two-state solutions for Palestine is also betraying the core ideology of Pakistan as well. The Pakistani founding fathers were vehemently opposed to any Zionist presence in Palestine. The poet Dr. Allama Iqbal had actually called it a dagger. He called it a Western outpost in the Middle East. Syed Azam, the founding father, had called it a dagger in the heart of the Muslims. And they were both willing to go to jail and fight for it, to protect the right of the Palestinians that not a single Jew is brought from Europe and allowed to settle in the land of Palestine. When Pakistan was created in 1947 and the issue of Palestine actually began to come up in 48, the founding fathers actually bought thousands of rifles and sent them to Arabs so that they could resist the Jewish invasion and Jewish Nakaba and Jewish persecution of the Palestinians at that time. So the Pakistani founding fathers was very clear. There is absolutely not going to be any compromise on the fact that the land belonged to the Palestinian Muslims and no European Zionists will be allowed to settle there. And once Pakistani state or the Muslim leadership starts to accept the two-state solution, you're actually betraying the Palestinians. You're actually accepting the Zionist narrative. You're actually accepting the fact that Zionists made a complete fool out of Muslims by telling the world that they will accept a two-state solution, give some right to the Palestinians, they hand over the city of Jerusalem to Muslims. The whole war is going on for Jerusalem, where they want to build their temple. Every sane person knows they will never hand over the city voluntarily to Muslims unless Muslims take it like we took it in the First Crusade, like Muslims captured it in the earlier time of Rashidun Caliphate. Jerusalem can only be taken by sword. It was taken from us by sword. It will be taken back by sword. Two-state solution is a geopolitical blasphemy. And I will insist on saying this. Muslims should come out of this fallacy that anyone saying that they follow or accept or recognize the two-state solutions are actually legitimizing the genocides done by the Zionists, and they are betraying the Palestinian cause. No such thing is ever going to happen. The land belongs to Palestine, the indigenous people, the real Semites, and it will never ever be handed over to the Ashkenazi Jews from Europe. Period.